You're welcome.
No, actually, she's the insurance quorum.
Oh, so there would you were before me.
I actually look
In
at
case anybody.
So let's start, folks.
Thanks or-
We have a lot to talk about.
Andrew, think you need a hammock now.
You don't mean a hammock.
You know, the judge.
That's not hammer. Or a gavel, yeah. I wouldn't mind a hammock. Yeah.
That's where you look. I don't look at Andrew, I don't look at that shit.
So, can we have an approval of today's agenda?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. How about the minutes? Any corrections or additions?
Additional,
Go ahead.
I'd like to put this on, I want to make sure it's on the record, please, that I want to thank, last time you guys had phone issues at the PCAC meeting, and I did have a Long Island Railroad, I think one of the new Long Island Railroad members, I think it was on the phone, or Metro North, I may be mistaken, I forgot her name was.
Oh,
Metro North.
Francina.
Francina, thank you. I want to thank Angela and the PCAC, all the PCAC, I mentioned every name will be up tomorrow. I want to thank you very much because the phone issue was a big issue. I wanted to hear that meeting very much.
Who did you call first?
First, I did say Trudy, I'm sorry. I'm overtired right now.
And I drove them crazy too late.
Well, no, but I do
What
want to
meeting are
thank
we referring to? The full
PCAC?
PCAC?
Remember when I came in, I said,
Yes, I remember that. All right, so the thanks will be added to the minutes of. Actually, the thanks, yes, should be in this meeting, not in that one, because the thanks are happening today, not then, so.
So I'll just add, I'd like to thank for the minutes.
Should we close, you think?
But I just wanted to share with you, I wanted to thank.
Well, good.
As a fellow TRC member, I think, I want to thank you, because lately you've seen a lot of the other divisions like LIR or Metro North maybe not giving PCs enough credit. They deserve this credit
I don't know, but
today.
it's a better room.
They canceled the event.
All right, let's go into the chair's report.
We didn't vote, man, we didn't vote the minutes.
I didn't hear any objections to the minutes.
No, I just said comment and.
Does everybody approve the minutes from the?
I make a motion that the minutes be approved.
Thank you.
I second that.
All right, any objections? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Welcome to our rescheduled, or rescheduled as they say in Britain, March meeting. We had a number of potential conflicts with our meeting dates this month, but according to our poll of members, this date works better than last Thursday, so we're here today. This allows us also to bring you up to date on several events that have happened over the last week. Our thoughts are, of course, with those affected by the bombings in Belgium, which targeted transportation facilities, both airports and subways. Incidents like this are alarming, but we have been reassured there is no current specific threat against the New York transit system, and that federal, state, and local enforcement forces are continuing to safeguard us against similar incidents, and anybody that's ridden the trains lately has seen a much larger police presence. The MTA is well aware that none of us can afford to let down our guard in the face of a potentially dangerous world, and ironically, on the day before the Brussels bombing relaunched its If You See Something, Say Something public safety campaign with a focus on stories from New Yorkers who actually reported suspicious packages or activities. The campaign also highlights the work of those law enforcement personnel who respond to those reports. The launch of these new features will be online and will allow internet users to view either shorter video clips or a full 3-minute, 38-second video. You may see this campaign in the coming days, including a new slogan, New Yorkers Keep New York Safe. The campaign will include a series of posters displayed in the MTA's buses and train and subway cars, and is an all-too-timely reminder of the need for riders to stay alert to their surroundings and to not be reluctant to report a potential problem, even if it might embarrass you to do so. And in fact, there was a story where one of the neighbors of the San Bernardino bombers was reluctant to report because they thought, they'll just be laughed at and, they'll be frowned upon. New York City Transit President Ronnie Hincombe is continuing to settle into her position and has appointed Winton Habersham to the permanent post of Senior Vice President for Subways. You may remember Mr. Habersham presented to the Transit Riders Council a few years ago concerning the signal system and brought us a very clear and understandable explanation of how signals work and how they can malfunction. He has been serving as acting head of the subway system on an interim basis since December of 2015, when Joe Leader left.
And John O'Grady is now permanent CP.
Yes, yes. Like his
That's Carmine's own position going back.
like his predecessor, Ronnie has Carmine's
Oh, Rodney
job.
has Carmine, and
Joe Leader's job
Yeah,
is
oh, yeah.
who? Winton Habersham.
Yeah, Winton is Carmine's old position.
Yeah.
oh,
Right, Harmon used to have that
Yeah,
job too.
He did.
long time ago. Like his predecessor, Joe Leader, Mr. Habersham understands the system and has made it clear he recognizes the tall order facing him. And when I discover something and I email him, he's quite responsive, like Joe was. His remarks upon being permanently appointed focused on customer information and maintenance to avoid breakdowns, areas that we agree are critical. Although the rate of growth has slowed, ridership continues to expand. The 6 million daily rider mark, once a rarity, is increasingly becoming the norm on the system. On March 5th, Bradley and Ellen participated in the Staten Island Bus Hackathon. Did you hack buses?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did bus data.
The session was popular with over 150 app developers, planners, and transit fans creating 15 proposals to improve conditions on Staten Island. The challenge given to the participants was to craft proposals to improve Staten Island bus transportation, and participants were given access to detailed data sets only available since the dawn of the bus time system to perform necessary analyses. So it was only for bus issues on Staten Island?
Yes.
Just buses?
Yeah, why do they call it a
Raise it.
hackathon? That gives a negative connotation.
It sort of does, yeah.
I mean, but it is the language of the age group who are the techie folks that attracts them in
But-
because they all get very
Also,
excited
who
about it.
sponsored?
But new
who
programs
sponsored it?
wouldn't be
what
hacking
do
the
you call
system,
it?
per se.
Transit
Hacking
of data.
Hacking is good.
Transit
Hacking
center.
is
The hack,
Transit
it's
center.
a good
Transit,
thing.
transit center, but maybe because
Hacking is
Yeah.
good.
Bill should explain
No.
who, because they are a big new group on the
Okay.
scene and.
Okay, Transit Center is the successor to the company that used to run Transit Check and make a boatload of money off of it. What Transit Center did essentially was sell Transit Check to Eden Red, another benefit administrator, and they got a ton of money out of it, basically. And they've converted themselves into basically a foundation that funds research and development in transit. So they funded something on transit agency leadership that there was a presentation last year that some of you, I think Bill was at that, maybe perhaps, did you go to that? I can't remember if you went to that, but anyhow, they're funding projects that have to do with improving transit
They have an
performance.
MOU,
So they're
that they funded them down.
well, Bruton Center was in partnership on the
Yeah.
hackathon,
Yeah.
but they partnered with CUSP, with the Center for Urban Data, basically.
That's a great
And-
acronym, CUSP.
And so they've got a staff of very tech-savvy folks working there, and they're particularly taking on the bus issues and re-examining bus routes, and so they're starting with the Staten Island project. But they've got their PhD folks and everything, finding ways to visualize the bus data that's now open on the real-time bus data. They've done some interesting stuff.
Judy can't wait till I get to the second half.
Yeah, exactly, it is pretty exciting.
No, what, they're gonna be doing it in East Borough?
Yes, yeah, well, because I think transit is doing each borough, but it seemed like Staten Island may be the easiest one to get your arms
I think
around.
they took the opportunity that because of the bus study that's going on in Staten Island to go to the.
So
We heard about it last month.
Yeah.
We heard about the
Right.
Staten
We heard
Island.
about the
Right,
study.
but they're
Study
really,
last
but
month,
they
yeah.
did this hackathon based on that, so they're
But-
really going into it in an in-depth way that's pretty.
They're trying to piggyback
Interesting.
on that effort to.
But their CUSP relationship, before the hackathon ever happened, they were working on MTA bus data throughout the boroughs and making it so it's much more user-friendly for groups like us and for other groups to then delve into and do reports and assess, much easier than what transit right now provides. They've provided in a format that's more appropriate for developers who know coding and, necessarily.
Although our team is getting on board with coding.
One of the things they've done, for example, is they've taken the raw bus time data and they've matched it to scheduled runs. So now they can tell whether buses are late or early or whether a run is dropped and that kind of thing. So it's part of what they're doing. It makes it a lot easier to use that data for analysis.
Question, are they gonna be doing more of these events coming up in Staten Island?
I think they've done it, is that right?
No.
Well, if they do the study further
They're gonna-
along, they may have,
I think
right,
they
transit
are.
probably will
I think
have.
that once they, with, especially with the hackathon and everything, when I was talking to Jonathan and Chris, that once they get results, certainly they're gonna go back to the community and let them find them.
Yeah,
They'll go
right, I
back
think
out.
that
You let us know.
Deborah, maybe,
I believe.
they're gonna keep having public meetings about the advances in Staten Island and.
Yeah, the bus study is part
Yeah,
of
the
the
bus study is gonna keep
Mhm.
having.
Can you let us know?
But the custody for,
No, but other staff.
but
Other
Ellen,
forms
are
of
the
updates on
custody
bus study.
people sharing their data
Yes,
with New York City Transit?
yes.
Oh, so they're doing it in conjunction with them, it's not like no?
Yeah, I think they had a relationship that's building, put it that way. Deborah, you may know more on that, but I
Yeah.
think initially it was
I mean,
trying
we
to.
were,
get
we were
together.
co-sponsors for
In the hackathon, right,
Exactly,
right.
yeah, so it's a developing relationship, I'll say, I think Ellen's right.
That's a great term.
Let's
Burgeoning.
move on. New York City Transit, as well as Google and CartoDB, had staff on hand to provide participants with technical assistance. Who's CartoDB?
They're
I'm
a
only
web-based mapping program.
Oh, okay. DB is the name of the German railroad.
It's more
Deutsche
user friendly,
Bahn.
it's more user friendly than the GIS stuff.
Okay. Most of the hackathon
Geographic information system.
Most of the hackathon participants focused on the role of the express bus network on Staten Island, which may have been due to the complexity of the overall bus network on the island and the desire to develop solutions in a limited time that would still have a big impact on Staten Island transit users. Each of the 3 proposals that received prizes in the event included express buses as an element of its plan. You can access material on the winning plans and all the proposals that came out of the hackathon at the Rudin Center webpage, wagner.nyu.edu/Rudin Center. You probably also heard about the governor's plan for reinvigorating the MTA bus fleet. With a normal service life of 12 years, replacing old buses with technologically advanced units is one of the most effective ways of rapidly improving rider perceptions of the transit system. This is particularly important since bus ridership is declining even as record ridership strains the subway system. To this end, the governor has announced the addition of over 2,000 new technology buses over the next 5 years. And what does that mean? Is it more than just the I Love New York insignia on the bus?
And
The
the
plug,
And we have
plugs.
plugs, and plug, and
The
yes,
jump
plugs.
plugs.
You can now.
I'm about to tell you, that was
very-
rhetorical.
That was very.
That was rhetorical.
Apologize for responding.
The upgrades in the new buses will include onboard Wi-Fi, USB ports, and the digital information screens. The onboard USB ports will number between 35 and 55 per bus, and 2 to 3 digital information screens per bus will display automated stop announcements, upcoming available transfers, news, weather, advertising, and hemorrhoid ads, right? No.
Oh!
And real-time announcements from the bus command center. The current plans are for 2,042 new buses, which will replace about 40% of the current fleet by 2020, that is. The first of these buses will be deployed by MTA Bus in Queens the next month, but later deliveries will go to Manhattan, Brooklyn, and the Bronx, with the remaining buses distributed throughout the 5 boroughs by the end of the period. These buses will have a redesigned exterior that will bring a new look to the bus fleet to help rebrand the service and make it more I don't know if that makes it more attractive, but
Well, that's the
service
theory.
makes it more
That's
attractive.
the theory.
They had in the papers, it looked like an old bus painted brighter blue.
They have a new paint scheme and, you know, Wi-Fi on the side and an I Love New York
But
sticker
it doesn't
on
look
it.
anything different except that it's brighter.
Yeah, Bert,
If I read the numbers correctly, they said that all those buses, 18 were going to Manhattan. That doesn't
Yeah, I
change the
don't-
percentages.
There's an initial order.
That's not much.
It's not much.
Not,
And
and
there's
not for
many going.
Manhattan, and it's supposedly going to replace 40% of the fleet now.
Well,
18 buses does not replace 40%.
So the overall.
Of the overall fleet.
In other words, Manhattan is not getting their.
well, this is the initial that's getting rolled out this year, I think.
No,
No,
it's
that's said over, the newspaper
Deborah, do you
article said
know?
over the next 5 years. And that's all that Manhattan is getting.
Do you know this, Deborah, by any chance?
I thought it was just the first rollout.
That's what I
was-
And
That's
isn't
the
it-
first one.
Well,
I
the
think- I
age
think
based
you're
mostly,
looking at-
isn't it?
Yeah, this is like 200.
What depots
and
have?
It's
something
2,042 buses.
buses. They're getting 18 out of 200 and something in the initial rollout.
In the initial rollout, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my-
That's this year.
And
Never
then-
can change.
yeah.
That's what it
But
said.
never can change.
They always
Well,
do.
I think
That's
They always do.
You know why you don't see me more, right? Just give me my lowrider bus. That,
Yeah, I mean,
So
that,
you go
recorder.
that certainly that means they're not going to replace
Exactly.
any of the
Yeah.
just give me my.
In a sense, it doesn't matter, in a sense, it doesn't matter because they rotate buses from depot to depot in any case. So a bus that starts out in Queens could end up and very easily end up in Manhattan. What they try to do is they try to equalize the mileage in the duty cycles, so something that's running in fairly unconstricted environment and on Staten Island, putting a lot of miles on it, they'll move over to Brooklyn maybe and do fewer miles and more urban environment for a while.
No, I just heard that the M5 split they've decided will be at 37th Street, even though several community boards have said that was not the optimal place to split it. Oh,
It's
Later in the report, there's a.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
All
are we
right.
going to be discussing this without yesterday?
this one,
Or-
the bus fleet?
Yeah.
No, that's not what he's here to discuss.
Oh,
Okay, so finally, on Thursday, April 7th, the MTA will hold a public hearing on the proposed service plan for the operation of Phase 1 of 2nd Avenue Subway. As you know, the Q will soon serve the 2nd Avenue Subway and no longer go to Astoria. It's proposed the W train return to Astoria to provide the service as it did before the 2010 service cuts. Chris has indicated he is interested in testifying for the council at this public hearing, and we can discuss the hearing under new business. A second public hearing will be held on Wednesday, April 20th, on Transit's plan to split the M5 into two routes. The extreme length of the M5 reduces its reliability, but the current proposal is to split the route at 37th Street, which would result in a large number of users having to make transfers to continue their trip. A number of community board leaders and other commentators have proposed splitting the route at a point further south, which would still isolate the congested lower Manhattan portion of the route from the northern portion while maintaining a one-seat ride for many travelers. We can also talk about this in the business portion of our meeting, and this was not good to just get this notice, which says...
Well, it's an interesting notice to go out before the public
Oh,
hearing.
oh, wait a minute, this is just a notice of the public hearing. This is not that they've made the decision.
right.
No, that's
Oh,
a
okay.
proposal.
Okay,
That's better.
can I go back to something
Sure.
that was brought up with the 2nd Avenue Subway? I would like to testify also, that's been my baby since before it was.
What aspect do you want to talk about exactly? That it's
Well, I
about
don't
time
know.
that it's coming? or-
No,
Oh.
about, there's a lot of stuff in terms of relationship to people who live around. I don't know what you want to do, I assume you want to talk about accessibility.
Chris is not talking about 2nd Avenue, he's talking about the return of the W train and that service
I mean,
plan.
that's what- that's all.
Is it just the service plan, just about?
That's all it's about.
Oh,
used to get them
oh,
at
I
It's about
thought
the
it was-
new service plan with the Q going up 2nd Avenue, the W returning to the
But
Astoria branch.
just changing the letters or what's gonna look like.
It's changing several routes.
And do we have an issue with this service plan?
No, I think everybody is
Define these
is
guys.
anxiously awaiting the return of any express service. But it has to be on the topic. The topic
The
is the
topic
service
is-
plan.
yeah, the service plan,
That's right.
right,
From the
where it's gonna go and how it's gonna relate
Yes.
to cooking up the other.
So what is your point? What would you like to say?
I would like to
died in 3
find
months.
out.
It wasn't a
I'd
new
like to
battery,
see
I'd never go back
service
again to
plan.
the shoemaker.
They're gonna be presenting the service plan, right? Or
Here's the-
gonna
yeah.
present
I mean, it's
Well,
actually.
It's as it was before the 2010 service cuts, basically, except for the fact that the queue will be going up Second Avenue, I suppose.
And there's going to be a new line,
Notice.
okay, well,
All the notice.
Not a new line, but like a similar
It's-
return
it's going to be-
from the grave.
yes, okay, but also, yeah, so.
That's,
I
the old
haven't
run
read
from
this, by the
Dick
time
Morris.
this is through, by the time, if I'll read it right now while you're talking, but it's how this is going to best benefit the people, long-suffering people on the east side, and the reprojection on, is this the optimum plan? I don't think have we discussed this?
We can certainly discuss this.
Let's discuss this today.
This
and
is-
Under,
give some more
new
information.
business.
Not to,
Yeah.
does this mention frequency service?
No, and
That
I
was
will
not- yeah.
But I'm sure the headways that are now between the N and the Q will be the same as
We
between
don't
the
have-
N
That's
and
what
the
I would
W.
want to know if I were there.
But it is not in here, which is a point, thank you, Stuart. That is
There's
something
no
that's,
proposed change in the headways.
but we don't know what what? It's gonna be the same headways that are now existing.
I'll give you an
in the already. No, I know what those headways are, because
But
I
they're not.
switch it at the 9th Street, you know.
the seventh.
Well, there should be some information about it,
Yeah.
even if it's just that they'll stay the same, there should be information handed out and as part of this, thank you, Stuart.
But they make periodic adjustment to the headways anyway, so it's.
No, because you're gonna have a second train running on the local track, the R and the W shared track, they have to be adjusted.
Yeah,
They're not
they're-
just
they're-
the headways.
Yes.
How can you say it's the same headways?
You-
Well, they'll move,
I'll
they'll
tell you
move
what I'm
the
talking
queue,
about.
they'll move the queue to the express track. To free up space for the W. The R does not, you know, where the R and the Q.
Right now,
operate.
the Astoria branch is scheduled every 4 minutes, with each of the services being every 8 minutes.
Good.
That would not change under this plan.
If there are going to be additional trains or additional lines on the same track,
Yeah.
there's
How can
gotta
that
be
affect
some
service?
change.
Yeah.
Well, but they're not
And,
because,
okay, that's what I want
What
to
are you talking
testify
about?
that's the point of
If you
moving.
now have an N and a Q
Right.
every 4 minutes between the two of them on the Astoria branch, and it changes from the Q to a W, and it remains every 4 minutes between the two services, that's not a change in the headways.
No, but this doesn't just impact the Upper East Side, this impacts
Absolutely.
the Broadway trunk line.
Broadway Express
And the
N
local
service
service
comes back.
will be
Right.
Impacted.
No,
impacted.
but when you
Because the
are
R is
having
still-
Because then you're
the R's are
hearing
rarely.
on
only-
service,
rare.
excuse me, when you are having a hearing on service, on a service plan, the headways should be, even if it's to say the headways will stay the same, or the headways are now every 8, what you just announced here, it is not in here, and how is the public gonna know what the headways are?
Right, because on the two, on the trunk
Oh, that's
line,
what I
you're
wanna
now
testify
weaving
about,
another
okay.
train in, so how does that
Your
not get
question might be
affected
answered.
south of 42nd?
Not, no, this is
Well,
the notice
because
that
you-
went
you
out.
No,
have
no,
the
when they
N-
make the
because
presentation,
the
it
N
might
train
be
runs
But
on
I'll
local
be there, and then I
track
will say
for-
thank you for answering.
for a good bit of that.
And this will be
That's
running
what I
on
wanted to
express.
bring
Yeah,
up.
and you'd have to move
Okay,
some,
Andrew, that's what I
you'd
got.
have to
But the
move
N
something
runs
to.
more frequently.
Thank
But I
you.
think,
Express.
I think us having clarity on that would be.
There has to be clarity, even to
Actually,
know what
there
the
will be, there
headways
should be an
are.
improvement in,
But we don't know.
Here's the answer, and
And local
service would
service.
operate on express tracks rather than local tracks in Manhattan, south of Times Square, 42nd Street, 34.
But
Right,
it
but
doesn't
the
say
frequent-
how
but the
often
frequency
they
of the
will
N
operate.
is greater than the frequency of the W.
And we
Right.
also don't know what the
Right.
current frequency of service is. It doesn't even
Please.
say that it will maintain the same frequency
Well,
of service.
the N is not, the N, nothing's happening to the N.
But we
The
don't
N is
know that. It
continuing
doesn't
to go
say
to Astoria.
the only change is that the N will be using
It's going
express
on
tracks.
express
and
tracks.
not-
But that makes a difference,
means timetable would be just saying.
So what is it, what is the point that you wanna say exactly?
I would like.
Without clenching the
information.
eyes.
I would like,
So
I said
that
it 3
would-
times, I would like information on the frequency of service.
But
What it is now and what
It's
it
just a
is.
question we could ask them.
we could ask, we could get that answer even before the public
No,
hearing.
but I,
No, but that's what we're saying, we should get it before the public.
but
Yeah.
for the people who are going to be at the public hearing, that's why you're
You
having
can even
a
incorporate
public
it
But
into
hearing.
that's, but
the.
that's not, it, yeah.
All right, Chris, what did you wanna say at the public hearing?
In the public hearing, I am supporting with the W train, but as Trudy's correct, I'd like to know, because there is a concern of, you know, right now, 34th Street, as you know, we have reported switch problems. Trudy, you are correct. My concern is why can't you have the end continuing express up to 57th Street? Because you have 2 switches there, one can still come into the local track, or when it leaves 57th, you have already a track. One going up 63rd, one going already under to 59th Street Tunnel, which is the Lexington, whatever, 59th Street Tunnel. It will stop holding up the Q train behind us. It will not hold the Q train being, all, waiting outside the tunnel, because we need to move up.
I think the obvious answer, and I'm not gonna speak for them, it's the same thing, the reason today that the N makes 49th Street and only the Q misses 49th Street is they wanted to serve the 49th Street station
You already have
with
to-
more,
That means you're gonna have a backup moment.
that's the
And
answer.
if I may, the purpose of the public hearing for the public, as I understand it, is to give information and for the public to request information that they otherwise would not know, and which is not in the proposed Second Avenue Subway Phase 1 service plan. In this very small.
That's just a notice of the hearing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it says what it's about, and there is nothing, so I don't see any harm.
All right, I would be real shocked if when they started the presentation, they didn't tell you the service plan, but if they don't, I'm happy for everybody to ask whatever they want to ask.
I am talking about, not the service plan, but specific information within the service plan, which I don't see here.
I just
You were
just-
Absolutely.
And I just think it'll be helpful in writing the testimonies. We may be able to inject some things once we have some.
Yeah.
Yes,
Once we find out
exactly.
things in
Exactly.
advance.
Exactly. I'm not saying you guys will write my testimony as you usually do, I will be happy to, but I would like, the big question is about frequency of service, how it's going to change, if you're putting more trains or more lines on the same number of tracks, how that will affect the service on those tracks, because you got more trains on the same number of tracks. I know that sounds simplistic, but that's the way I would say
You're
it.
talking about the
You're
jet.
increasing capacity
Express
and-
train on the
Exactly.
Right now, you are undersupplied,
Exactly.
express.
And-
Yeah, but still have the queue is the headway of the queue is the headway of the queue, so.
headway at the end is greater.
But it
Yeah.
may
There's more frequent.
change.
Well, we'll ask, okay? Let's
Okay,
move on.
then, so if we can have that, and I would like to testify,
Andrew?
along with
Yes.
Chris.
Mhm. Andrew,
Yes.
there is one thing that I do want to add. We do not know how the W train, forget about the timetable. Where is this yard gonna be? Because we don't, we might say Coney Island, we might say, City Hall. The only question that a lot of people in Brooklyn have,
Could be city.
I don't know that.
I do.
Well,
But the public doesn't
The
know.
public doesn't really care where the yard is gonna be.
Then we don't have to bother having a public hearing.
No,
Andrew,
there's a lot of other issues.
Andrew, I'm sorry to say this, but.
Can you speak, we gotta get moving.
I'm trying to move up, I'm trying to go fast. As I'm saying is, the W used to go into Coney Island Yard. A lot of people in Brooklyn want the W to come to Brooklyn because during rush hour, ridership has increased. Waiting time for an R train, as you say, does run maybe 8 minutes. Sometimes they are delayed because of Queens Boulevard, since the incident of the F. Why can't they have during rush hour the W train going into Brooklyn? I don't care if it goes into the West End. I don't care if it goes to 95th Street. But, the ridership during rush hour, people want to get home faster. People want to get on a train. They can sit on a train. And, we need to know if the W is going to do the same routine like it used to do when it comes from the morning yard.
We
Picking
can
up the
ask-
customers.
That's my understanding from what's been said.
Gotta come from
But
somewhere.
it's coming from, it's coming from
But-
Coney
but the
Island
one
in the
thing is-
morning, the same way.
We just need to
In
know.
revenue service,
Yeah, I think that they're still
on
playing.
the sea beach or the west end?
I think I believe it used to come on West End, but I.
It came both.
Well, it's both.
Both. I remember it. It was
Yeah, I wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
That's, see,
Anyway.
that's what I'm saying, it's
Let me
not
ask you this
suspicious,
time.
it's gotta be
Are you,
something.
that, we'll ask, okay?
Yeah.
Can I ask, maybe we can distribute these to everybody, but can I ask a procedural thing that when something like this is published, if we could be notified that it is, I'm assuming that this came out a while ago, or, you know, it was 3/11/16, so this has been out.
That's
And that we could be notified about that there's a public hearing and that,
We
We
last
got-
month's meeting.
We got a letter dated the 18th of March.
well, this says 3/11, I'm looking at the top.
Well, I can't
Okay,
speak
but
for that.
whenever it was, today is the 24th, if we
And
could
then there's a
have.
letter coming around, it was sent, it was the 18th of March, I think it was. It was a Friday, so.
So can we move on, folks? We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, that's it.
There's a map on here.
And the speakers don't have any-
No, it's good.
No, I think
So
that's,
anyway, when
that's the
something like
poster
this,
that's up.
when something like this happens, could we be immediately notified that there is a public hearing? Since this is an issue that we
We didn't send
know.
out notice because we got we got the official thing this week. The official notice this week, so we have the copies of the
Okay.
letter
Okay.
today.
All right, let me go into the board report, because there's a number of items we need to talk about. First is, I'm sure you've seen in the news, the board passed some procurements to replace and repair the Bushwick Viaduct on the M line. The part that's really in bad shape is between the Central Avenue and the Myrtle Broadway stations, but there is also a problem at the end at Metropolitan Avenue with the viaduct that holds the M trains, which goes over the New York and Atlantic Railway. So the M line will be shut down in two phases. The first will be while they repair that bridge at Metropolitan Avenue. When they do that, there will be a shuttle bus to take riders down to Myrtle Wyckoff anyway. Then, when they go to phase two of that, phase one would be 2017. Phase two will be in 2018. That's when they'll actually do the part between Central Avenue and Myrtle Broadway. And then they will run an M shuttle train from Metropolitan Avenue down to Myrtle Wyckoff. So they are doing this in obviously they have to do this in preparation for the Canarsie 2 shutdown, which is scheduled for 2019. It is not yet clear, and there will be lots of meetings in the Williamsburg and Bushwick and other Brooklyn communities, I've been told, coming up shortly, to determine whether the 18-month or the 36-month shutdown is the best way to proceed. The obvious advantage to the 18-month shutdown is that you get the whole line back much quicker. In the 36-month shutdown, you maintain one direction of traffic, probably with a shuttle between Bedford Avenue and 8th Avenue. There have been, Ronnie Haycom told me that she is a little nervous about that plan because there is some heavy vibration and repair that'll be done in the tunnel that is shut down, and that vibration could